Let us move into Leviticus, a book that many people find difficult at first, but when understood correctly, it reveals something very human. How people deal with guilt, responsibility, gratitude, and restoration. Leviticus. When life needs restio and theme, responsibility, forgiveness, and intentional living after freedom. Now what? Israel had left Egypt. They had crossed the sea. They had received direction at Sinai. But now came a deeper question. How do you live in a way that reflects what you believe? Leviticus answers that it is not just a book about rituals. It is a book about how to repair what is broken between people and God, and between people and people. Because freedom without responsibility leads to disorder. Leviticus teaches that actions have consequences, but also that restoration is always possible. 1. The idea of sacrifice. What does it really mean? At first glance, sacrifice may seem distant from modern life, animals, altars, offerings, but at its core, sacrifice means something very simple, giving something of value to restore what was damaged. In life todeseria, when trust is broken, it costs something to rebuild it. When we make mistakes, we must take responsibility. When we hurt others, repair requires effort. Leviticus formalized this process. It gave structure to something we all experience: guilt, responsibility, and the desire to make things right. To the sin offering, dealing with WRONGDOING, one of the central sacrifices was the sin offering. This was for moments when a person failed, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unintentionally. There were different levels for a leader, for the community, for an individual. The idea was clear. Responsibility increases with influence. A leader's mistake affects more people. A community's failure impacts everyone. An individual still carries responsibility for their actions. Meaning, for today, we often try to minimize our mistakes. But growth begins when we acknowledge them honestly. Instead of hiding errors, Leviticus teaches us to face them. Accountability is not punishment. It is the beginning of restoration. 3. The guilt offering. When damage must be repaired, the guilt offering went even further. It was not only about admitting wrong. It required making things right. If someone had harmed another person, financially, socially, or relationally, they had to restore what was lost. Often with something extra. This is powerful. Forgiveness was not only emotional, it was practical. Meaning, for today, saying sorry is important, but sometimes it is not enough. Real restoration may require action. Returning what was taken, repairing what was damaged, rebuilding trust over time. Leviticus reminds us. True responsibility includes restitution. For the burnt offering, total commitment, the burnt offering symbolized something different. It was not only about sin, it was about surrender. The entire offering was given. Nothing was held back. Meaning, for today, there are moments in life when we must commit fully, not halfway, not partially. Whether in relationships, purpose, or faith, growth often requires full dedication. Leviticus teaches that transformation does not happen with divided commitment. 5. The peace offering, gratitude, and relatio and ship. Not all sacrifices were about mistakes. Some were about gratitude. The peace offering was a way of celebrating. Thankfulness, réconciliation, harmony. It was shared, not given. This reminds us of something often forgotten. Life is not only about fixing problems, it is also about recognizing blessings. Meaning for today. Many people focus only on what is missing. But gratitude changes perspective. When we pause to appreciate what is working, we strengthen relationships and inner peace. Leviticus includes gratitude as part of spiritual life, not only correction, but celebration. Six confessions, the turning point at the center of all these offerings was one key element, confession. Before any sacrifice, there had to be honesty, no excuses, no denial, just truth. This is where transformation begins. Meaning for today. In modern life, people often avoid admitting mistakes. But without honesty, nothing changes. Confessity clarity. When we face reality, we create the possibility of change. What Leviticus teaches us, today Leviticus, may feel ancient, but its principles are timeless. Actions have consequences. Responsibility cannot be avoided. Restoration requires effort. Gratitude must be practiced. Honesty leads to growth. It shows us that life is not about being perfect. It is about being willing to repair, learn, and move forward. Final reflectio in Leviticus is not just about sacrifices. It is about restoring balance. It recognizes something deeply human. We make mistakes. We errate, we fail ourselves. But we are not left without a way back. There is always a path to repair, a path to responsibility, a path to renewal. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: a meaningful life is not one without failure, but one where we take responsibility and grow from it.
Thank you for being part of this journey. If this message strengthened your heart, subscribe to Sacred Voices of Faith, where your faith is heard and your hope is renewed. Share this message with someone who needs encouragement today. Thank you for sharing.